Hollywood is truly changing and returning to the sensible center in record speed. Yeah, you have the odd virtue signal at the Grammys, and I bet there's going to be much more virtue signaling in award shows yet to come, but the trend is clear. Case in point, when Selena Gomez got humiliated for her hollow virtue signal, no one came to her defense.
People are getting attacked. The children.
Not one of her fellow stars were willing to stand by her for the cause. Now, even some filmmakers, like the man behind the Terrifier movies, make it explicitly clear that their movies are for everyone, and the virtue signaling left are going into a complete meltdown over it. Let's have some fun and point and laugh at the reactions. Damien Leone is the writer and director behind the Terrifier movies, you know, the gore-fest horror franchise featuring Art the Clown, which essentially does today what slashers like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween and the like did 40 years ago. The movies were made on a minuscule budget and massively successful relative to that budget, and apparently they are for everyone. But apparently some would have liked there to be a written ideological purity test one has to pass before being granted access to seeing them. Leone made it clear to everyone that there wasn't when he shared the following message on social media. I want to make a very important statement regarding the Terrified franchise in this ugly political climate we're living in. As most of you know, some of my cast and crew members have a very passionate political presence on social media with extreme and sometimes harsh opinions, which is their right. I'm all for freedom of speech and expression. That being said, Terrifier is not in any way, shape or form a political franchise. I did not get into filmmaking to become a politician or promote any political agendas or ideologies, especially through a killer clown movie. I fell in love with horror movies as a form of pure entertainment, and those are the films I like to make. Since Terrifier 1, our cast and crew has and still consists of both Republicans and Democrats, and anyone is welcome to be a part of it regardless of their political affiliations as long as they're a decent human being. That goes for our fan base as well. If this doesn't sit well with any fans or cast/crew members, that is your right and I respect it. You don't have to buy a ticket and you don't have to work on these films. Thank you, and I recommend you don't let toxic rhetoric on either side of the political spectrum deter you from being a Terrifier fan. Now, you would think that that would be a fairly obvious statement, that movies are for everybody. Indeed, that is one of the beauty with movies, especially the ones that are just fun, even if they appeal to our baser instincts, like Terrifier does. Because it is movies just like that, which form one of the many small parts of culture that binds people together, regardless of any other differences. If I was American, this is where I would say that movies like these are part of the American experience, but since I'm not, I will take it one step further and say that movies like Terrifier, and beyond that, Marvel, Star Wars, DC, John Wick, The Lord of the Rings, hell, Beekeeper, unites people worldwide. Way beyond American borders. This is the unique magic of Hollywood. This is why people with no blood connection to the States still care about what happens there in general and in Hollywood in particular. As such, Leone's message is one of unity, and one which you would think would be well received by everyone, or at the very least, everyone sane. As it stands, the most radical ideological left can of course be excluded from that category, and the members of that faction are indeed having a complete and total meltdown over this. Let's take a peek into the minds of some lost and some madmen, as we read some of the negative reactions to this message of unity. The recurring negative feedback was that for the people of the left, everything is political. One said, everything in life is political, from where we shop and eat to what films we watch. Not being political is a privilege because it means politics has no impact on your life. Horror is inherently left-wing, queer and from the outcast, and to turn a blind eye is disappointing. Yeah, I don't know how universal agreement is on that. Still, some in the wider LGBTQIAP+ community felt particularly offended though, with one saying, "Hey, as a big fan of your works, this sucks a lot and is really disappointing to hear. I'm losing rights because of politics." Really? Which ones? Anyway, continuing. "And you are not standing for members of your fanbase and their rights. Neutrality on these matters isn't really neutrality at all." But again, which rights have been lost? Seems like a bad case of TDS to me. Anyway, another said, "Damien man, I love you. I've always been a huge fan and I love your work so much. Love the franchise, love David and Lauren so much. I just wish this wouldn't have been said. We need to speak out against and condemn evil people that discriminate. A large following of the Terrifier franchise are the LGBT community. I'm gay, and I would never want someone condoning treating me like I'm not worthy." Yeah, I don't know where this dude got that from. As a general thing, the evil people who likes to discriminate tend to be on his side of the aisle. But since he evidently was so shaken, Leone actually responded to him, saying, "We love you back. Why would we condone that?" And indeed, he didn't condone anything. This is people reading things into his words that aren't there. He continues, "All I'm saying is my team, who killed themselves bringing everyone Terrifier, is made up of both Republicans and Democrats, and this franchise doesn't promote hatred for either, as long as you're a good person." And again, that is a sensible, unifying position. I don't know why this is so difficult to see. There was more backlash though. Another, in not so many words, demanded more activism, saying, "With great power comes great responsibility. When you're given a platform, it's a moral imperative to use it responsibly. Politics affects people's lives, often negatively. Institutions wield power to harm the helpless. To deliberately ignore such is cowardice." Another said, "You don't get to bow out that easily, sorry. Horror films, like all art, are political, some more, some less. Even when an effort is made to have one be apolitical, that is also a political statement. You're in this, even if you don't want to be." Well, people like this are what you get when all of entertainment has been politicized in recent years. So thank you, Bob Iger, because you are one of the most guilty behind this mindset spreading. However, there were many good supportive messages as well. One reads, "I come to movies, games, TV, comics, etc. to be entertained, not lectured or derided. I have Twitter for that, and as much as I enjoy the political bullshit, having it permeate literally everything I do or interact with is a good way to go insane." Good point. That would appear to have happened with some of the people we already saw the responses from. This message continues though. It's one of the reasons I love horror so much. It's pure, over-the-top escapism. Whimsy fun with a few hundred gallons of blood and viscera. This was the perfect statement, and I look forward to seeing what kind of silliness the next film brings. See, that is the correct response. Hopefully, even those who were negative in their responses will come to learn over the next few years that whatever they may think, no one is after them. No one is coming for their rights. Live and let live. Now bring on Terrifier 4, where Art's background will be revealed. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments.